manifested through race. Power is manifested through class.
That's right.
When we're getting responses from elected officials who want to take this as an opportunity to self-promote, to have photo ops, to say that the solution is to have the owners take cultural sensitivity classes. That is no solution. You are therefore part of the problem. A progressive coalition, a progressive tidal wave. Where we are going to be running our own candidates because you have failed to listen to us. There was graffiti sprayed on this coffee shop. We do not condone the destruction of property. We do not condone the defacement of property. But defacing also comes in many different ways. When you rename our historic communities, Highlands, Slow High, Low High, Rhino, you are defacing our community. Stop erasing our history. Stop erasing our people. We want real solutions with real money behind them. If you want to know what the solutions are, ask us. Don't speak for us. We are the leaders of our community. I'm not sure who is the next speaker. All right, Kay. All right, thank you.
We want to make sure everybody is documenting this. Everybody has this thing called a smartphone, an iPhone, an Android, whatever you want to call it. Pull out Facebook Live. Make sure this message is going around this nation. Make sure people understand that gentrification has a negative impact around all of our communities. And with that being said, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Justine Sandoval.
Hi everybody, Justine Sandoval. I'm a community organizer and activist. I'm a third-generation Denverite, and my family has been in Curtis Park for close to a century now. We've been here, and one of the things I really want to address is a conversation of people asking why are we so upset that this was a joke. You know, we've been here a long time, and a lot of people standing behind me here, and I have family in the audience out here who have worked a long time to keep this neighborhood going. Now, there's this misconception that businesses that have come into here have suddenly brought us a neighborhood, and we've even heard it from people like developers, Ken Wolf, who have straight up said, we created a community. First of all, this is Denver's first neighborhood, okay? It's the absolute first neighborhood, so you didn't bring a community. A community has been here, and prior to businesses that have shown up here now, there had been businesses before. There had been lots of businesses down Lermer Street, so there's nothing new coming in here. So if anyone asks why we're upset because these businesses coming in, they come and they think that they're bringing us something, this savior complex of saving our neighborhood. Carpetbaggers! Let me tell you, people ask, well, why wouldn't you want Curtis Park to be nice? We have, and lots of people have been working for a very long time to make this community what it is. You did not bring us a community. We have a community here.
It was safer.
Actually, yes, our neighborhood has actually have more crime than it has in the past 10 years since gentrification.
More drugs.
How do we talk about these things? You did not bring us a neighborhood. We are a community. We are people who have been here for a long time, and we have been a very diverse community for a long time. Black, brown, Japanese, all these different families that have lived in this community together for a very long time. So the conversation needs to be not how you come in and you change our neighborhood, but how do you come live with us? How do you invest in our community? People who left, who wanted to sell, they left a long time ago. All right, my concern are my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, my elderly family that are here, who have been here when Denver wasn't economically thriving and people left. We stood here and we were the backbone, and we have managed to keep this neighborhood alive. So if we're a little bitter now, or we're a little reactionary to things like this, it's not a joke to us, because they measure things down this street in dollar signs now, but not us. We measure it deeper than that. It's our family, it's our community, it's our community, it's our history, and there is no monetary value on that. So as we continue to move forward from this moment and rally around this instance, we need to keep moving forward and keep the dialogue going and keep getting people to understand that if you're coming in here, you're not just investing in your property, you're investing in an entire community. So thank you everybody for being here. Let's continue to be active. Don't let it end today. Keep going, keep being vocal, keep pushing back, and let's make this the neighborhood that's inclusive for everybody. And I also want to bring up my cousin, Lolo Martinez, because we've all been in this community forever, wants to give some words about the community.
Thank you, cousin. As a matter of fact, as I look around, I see a lot of cousins. As a matter of fact, when you live in this neighborhood all your life, over a century, over 60 years, you kind of see change. A lot of change is inevitable. But let's not get things twisted.
Not that change.
Let's understand one thing. The people that sold the homes and moved out have sold. The people that are here now are struggling to stay. Okay? That's why we're still here. At one time, our family, cousin Manuel, how you guys doing, man? We owned over 53 properties in Curtis Park. Okay? The first house I bought was when I got married in 1973, when I graduated from Manual High School. I paid $15,000 for that house. Okay? Now you can't touch a house in this neighborhood for under $500,000. That's a fact, Jack. Okay? But what we want to say is, you're not going to push us out. Gentrification is no joke. Okay? You're not going to push us out. We're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. It's a difficult situation. We want to hit the problem on the nose, okay? Who is allowing this to happen? These are the people that we voted into office, okay? We voted them into office to take care of us. They turned the cheek.
There you go.
A perfect example now is what's happening in Globeville, Swansea, and Elyria. The city just floated these bonds that are going to give $1 billion to the improvement of them to the Western Stock Show Arena, okay? And they tell the people out there that are living there now, that have lived there all their lives, that they're going to beautify the neighborhood, they're going to put sidewalks and parks and dog walks and all this other stuff. People, what you don't understand is it's not for you.
That's right.
It's not for you. It's for the people that they are welcoming in, coming into this state, coming into this city. So let's not forget where the problem is. This is the one thing we can do is unite to offset what our elected officials have done to us. You're going to see them come out in the next year or so because they need your damn vote.
That's right.
Okay? They need your damn vote. They'll speak Spanish. They'll kiss your baby. Okay? I grew up during the movement in the 70s. Okay? Chicano power, huh? Viva la raza! Viva la raza! Que viva la raza! Viva Corky Gonzalez! Now you all remember these people. These people had in their mindset to work for the people. That's why we have Mexican lawyers, Mexican attorneys, Mexican people in high places, and Mexican officials, okay, because of the work that they did back in the 70s. Okay, now we have to rekindle. We have to rekindle that fire. We have to grow it up. We have to let these people, we don't want to sit here and ask Mayor Hancock or Albus Brook for anything. We want to tell them. Okay, sometimes this is what they understand. They don't understand, hey, let me invite you to my office and let's talk about it. Okay? No. We don't want to sit down in your office. We're telling you what we want you to do, and this is what you're going to do. Okay? People, stand up. Okay, let's not ask for anything. Let's demand it. Let's demand it. Okay? Let's not. This is something that I'm really glad that we saw ball here because it's been missing for decades. Okay, it's been missing for decades. And I think our young Chicano people, our young Mexicanos that come in here, that come into this neighborhood and say, hey, I used to live here. I used to grow up here. Gilpin School.
That's
Foregone conclusion, okay? It's gone, okay? The schools aren't what they... I went to Gilpin School, went to Cole not middle school because back then it was called junior high, okay? And then I graduated from the Thunderbolts. People here know what the Thunderbolts are, okay? You look at this street that we're standing on, okay? What's the difference? Back when I was growing up, they called it Skid Row, okay?
But it's more dangerous now.
Why did they call it Skid Row?
because Mexicans hung out down there.
Absolutely, because it was full of Mexican people. Welton, they called it another Skid Row. Why?
Black folks.
Because it was black folks. We were united in our communities, okay?
We call them white boys.
Now, if you look at this street now, it hasn't changed.
White boys.
It hasn't changed.
Isn't it called white
The only difference is the drunks that walk here are white now. Okay? That's the only difference. We still got drunks. The biggest difference is we have our elected officials supporting it.
Yeah, where
Okay?
are they at anyway? They should have been here.
Chicano power! Viva la raza! Viva la raza! Black power! Come on, let's unite! Brothers and sisters, let's let this seed grow into a full-fledged tree. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If your feed was just blocked by Facebook, there's also another way to record, and that's with your phone on your regular camera. It's going to take some storage, I don't care. And then you post it to Facebook. We're not going to let them block the message. We've had several people say that their live feed has been blocked by Facebook. Guess what? We're going to continue.
Yes.
And I would like to bring up Julie Gonzalez, another community organizer.
Hey, how y'all doing today? My name is Julie Gonzalez, and I just wanna break it down. I wanna start off with a question.
What in the hell is a North Sider doing on the East Side?
They're experiencing the same
I know. I want to tell y'all, I live in Jefferson Park, and I'm a North Sider, and I have to tell y'all that what is taking place here is not only taking place here, it's taking place on the North Side of Denver. Do we have any other North Siders here? Are there any West Siders here? Y'all know that what is taking place in the development that's taking place in not only the North Side, but also in the West Side, and also here in the East Side of the city. This is why we need to unite as a citywide coalition to build some power. And so what I actually want to do, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about what is broken. I want everybody to actually turn to a neighbor for a second, turn to somebody you haven't met yet. Legit, no, for real, put down your signs. I want you to do it for a second. I want you to find somebody that you have not yet met, and I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to introduce your name, where you're from, what your cross streets are. I'm at 23rd and Clay. I'm at Jefferson Park. I'm on the North Side. And now I want to bring it back. coalition, the GES coalition. This woman is so fierce, y'all. I'm going to be translating for her from Spanish into English, okay? Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Yo soy parte de la coalición de GES, Globio, Elyria y Swansea. So I'm part of the coalition of GES, the Globio, Elyria, Swansea coalition. He vivido en Globio por 30 años más. I've lived in the community for over 30 years. Nosotros como coalición el año pasado hicimos una encuesta donde estamos mirando que el 88% de nuestros residentes de Globio, Elyria y Swansea están a punto de ser desplazados. And so last year we did a coalition, we did a community survey throughout the community, and we found through that work that over 88% of the residents within the neighborhood are in danger of being displaced. Ya hemos tenido varios desplazamientos con lo del I-70. El I-70 ha traído mucho desplazamiento, mucha gente que ha tenido que irse, no por su gusto, porque tienen que irse. And this isn't the first time that we're facing displacement. This has happened to us multiple times. First, with the displacement caused by I-70. So people are leaving, not because they want to leave, but because they're being forced to leave. Nosotros queremos proteger nuestra comunidad, queremos que tengan un lugar estable, no queremos que se nos sigan yendo, queremos seguir cultivando nuestras culturas, nuestra raza, nuestra gente. And so we want to stay in our communities. We want to continue to build and to grow and to nurture and our communities and our cultures. Sabemos que Globio, Elyria y Swansea es un vecindario pequeño. Sabemos que ha estado olvidado por muchos años, mas ahora con todos los desarrollos que llegan, vienen a darse cuenta que existimos. So we know that Globeville, Elyria, Swansea are small communities, and that for a long time that we've been forgotten communities. But we know that with all of this development that's coming, all of a sudden they found us again. Somos un grupo de residentes organizándonos y nosotros queremos la solución. Para nosotros la mejor solución es un banco de tierra. Nosotros estamos trabajando para obtenerlo, con muchos tropiezos, con poco apoyo, pero lo estamos logrando salir adelante. So we know that we have to find the solutions, and for us, as the residents, finding our own solutions, we've determined that land trusts are the way for us to go about building our own solutions. And so what that looks like is we've had to battle a lot of barriers, a lot of tricks, but and with not very much support, but we are dedicated to making that happen. Nosotros sabemos que quieren hacer bancos de tierra el gobierno, sabemos que están planeando bancos de tierra, pero nosotros queremos un banco de tierra que sea gobernado, que sea dirigido por la comunidad, que la comunidad se sienta que está respaldada a ellos mismos. No queremos que hoy duermamos y que mañana estemos con la sensación de que nos tenemos que ir. We know that the government is already wanting to look at these land trusts, but what we are demanding is that those land trusts be governed by and governed for the community. And so that is what we're going to continue to fight for. We know, and what we cannot abide by is the idea that we will wake up one day to the next with all of a sudden the sensation that we are being forced from our own communities. Queremos que nuestro banco de tierra sea para 99 años, que sea una perpetuidad para nuestros residentes. Queremos que todos podamos gozar de una vida sana. Merecemos que nuestros hijos y nuestros nietos sigan creciendo como todos los demás en los mejores barrios. ¡Que viva la raza! ¡Y que viva! So in this community land trust, what we want to ensure that happens is we want to make sure that this is a 99-year land trust that is put into perpetuity for our community so that our children and our grandchildren are able to grow up in the neighborhoods and grow up healthy just like everybody else. Necesitamos el soporte no nada más de residentes, de negocios, de personas que quieran colaborar con nosotros, porque el Banco de Tierra nos va a dar acceso a todo, a trabajos, a una mejor economía, a una mejor educación. Entonces, nosotros estamos buscando eso y queremos luchar por eso. Y por qué no, todos los que están aquí nos pueden apoyar. And so in this community land trust, we need support of residents, of community members, but also of business, because we know that with community land trust in place that will give us everything that we need, of jobs, of housing, of a better economy, and solutions. And so we're asking with everyone here to support this land trust, because that's going to be the way that we can move forward.
Ya tenemos algunas organizaciones no profit que nos están apoyando. Ya tenemos unos partners con ellos, pero necesitamos más apoyo.
So we have some nonprofit partners who are working with us, but we need more support. We need to grow this out.
Gracias.
Thank you.
We're getting to the good part where it's all good. We're getting there. We're getting to the end. Stay with us. But I just had a vision of, instead of us having another coffee shop, what if we had a community center for all of our community residents to make sure that our community had a hub back in this community area? Because right now, we don't need more coffee shops that charge you $7.99 a cup. We need centers to educate our young people. We need to help our senior citizens. We need to improve this community. So that's my vision, and I think we should push for this to become a community center, not a place that's going to charge something $7.99 so you can get a cup of coffee. With that being said, I would like to bring up another community organizer, Kayvon.
Thank you all. I'll be quick because this is not about me. My name is Kayvon Kalabari, local business owner. I've only been in Denver 13 years, but this place means the world to me. I am running for mayor in 2019 because I cannot watch Michael Hancock go essentially unopposed again in another election. To not have the types of discussions that we're having here today, these should have happened last election cycle. They did not. I also want to reiterate what people said up here. This is not about a sign or a coffee shop or a PR company. These are symptoms of an environment that's been created in this city because a lot of people stop paying attention. But the signs are up there. They're all over the place. Priorities of spending $2 billion taking an interstate, putting it underground through Superfund sites, through brownfield sites, to the poorest neighborhood in Denver, the most polluted neighborhood in the nation. There's no rhyme or reason to that when we should be focusing on multimodal transportation options. $1.8 billion to turn DIA into a glorified shopping mall. Another $1.1 million to turn Western Stock Show into this cowboy palace, whose only end goal is to attract the Olympics here in 2026. That's a bad recipe to build a city. The priorities of affordable housing we're spending $15 million a year on, compared to these billions of dollars we're spending on other things. We're almost going to be spending as much this year on settling lawsuits at the hands of the deaths that were a result of sheriff department abuse on people of color in our jails. We have one of the most abusive police forces in the country here in Denver. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the fact that Denver public schools are more segregated than they've been in 50 years. We don't talk about the fact that we're criminalizing homelessness, that the population's growing, that we have this perpetual 10-year plan to get us out of these conundrums, and we're not getting anywhere. We're making the problems worse. I slept out the other night, just about 10 blocks down the road, with members experiencing homelessness, members of our community. Got woken up 4 times in 6.5 hours. 7 out of 10 people would rather stay out here on the sidewalk in the cold than they would in the filthy shelter system that our city props up and says is an option for people getting back on their feet. These signs have been all over the place for a very long time. The only way that we're going to fix what we have right now is to get people out to vote. When I think about us having a 30% turnout of registered voters here in Denver, that's maybe a 10%, 15% representation of the people that could vote in Denver. That's why we have this problem, because people aren't getting out. They need to register. They need to vote. We need to think about the people that we have in office and hold them accountable. I know a lot of people came in with hope in Hancock Black and Brooks took office. A lot of people in this community, and they were bought and sold by the same folks that have bought and sold every politician here in Denver and elsewhere. This progressive movement's important, but it's not going to matter unless people get out there and vote. And I hope that we do that next year. Julie Gonzalez shouldn't even mention the fact that she's running for SD 34. We got to vote for her. Vote for me or not, I don't care. I'm going to get the conversation started, and you guys can make your own determination. May I introduce Candy? Someone I'm excited for, hoping that one day she announces that she's going to run for this seat, because I know she'd wipe the floor with Albus Brooks. One of the people at the forefront of pushing back on I-70 and just how god-awful it is. Project Voice getting youth engaged in this process, which is another important thing that we need to really focus on in this city. I'd like to give it up to Candy Sedabaka.
So I'm a fourth-generation East Sider, and I'm East Side because I wrote my notes on my hand because I go last, so I have to make sure I fill in the gaps and go deeper on what people started up on. So I will try to keep this short for you guys because if you know me, I can keep talking. I'll talk your ear off. But I want to talk to you about how I responded to some of the Facebook posts that were going around about this. And a lot of the things, I can't try any harder. My mouth is on it. Are the speakers going louder?
They're all the way up.
The speakers are all the way up. I'm so sorry. I'll try. Come on in. Scoot on in. Get close. Pretend like you love each other. There it goes. There it goes. Because we do love each other. So some of the things that I saw on Facebook was that this is a natural process. I want to talk to you about how this is not a natural process. This is class warfare, and there are solutions that are happening, and we need to unite to make sure that we advance the agenda of the people and take back this city. Reclamation is happening, and we need everybody on board to be successful. So this is not a natural process because we know that as much as people like to tout that gentrification improves the area, gives us something nice, we know that research shows that the overall net benefit to communities is negative. In our communities, we keep talking about it as a race issue. But like I said, this is class warfare. Gentrification is about being able to have the capital to displace people who cannot afford to stay. I saw a lot of white people getting attacked on Facebook for standing up for what we believe in here today. And it was frustrating because we're not connecting the dots. We're not connecting the dots that our civil rights leaders started to connect when they started getting killed off. This is about class. Class is what binds us, and class, our movement now has to be about that, because it's not about only black and brown people not being able to afford to live in this community and our identities being erased. But what about the others? There are poor white people here too, and this is your fight too. This is all of our fight, and we're letting our politicians shape the city that they want, that they can profit off of, because they're creating this narrative about black versus white, brown versus black. And that is the strategy, that has been the tactic that has kept us divided for so long. And we have to begin to see past that and understand that this is a poor people's movement. This is what we have to do. We have to take back our city. And people who have spoken today talked about a lot of different ways in which they're reclaiming the city. There are going to be a lot of initiatives going around. One, to get an elected sheriff. One, to get a public fund for people to be able to run for office and not take corporate dollars. We're trying to lower the voting age at school board to 16 so young people can start participating. You heard a little bit about the Community Land Trust, and that is a strategy to mitigate, to disrupt gentrification that has been piloted globally. And it emerged out of the civil rights movement with sharecroppers wanting to claim the land that they were working for themselves. And that is what this community needs to really rally around. We need to pool our resources. We need to bring more cohesion to our efforts,
because so many of these things are happening and we don't know about them until today. And that's why today is special, because this is the moment where all of these things start to converge and we start to recognize that we can't win without each other. We have to be united and we have to pay attention to politics, because what we don't pay attention to are the things that sound boring but have the most impact. Zoning, land use, these are the things that our politicians live and breathe, and we let less than 20% of our population elect them. That's a problem, because if only 20% or less are speaking for us, why would they care about land use or zoning that's pushing us out? The fact that we have more drugs in our community today than we ever did in the past, and there's not a single brown face or black face behind those businesses, that's a problem, because that's how they gave us the reputation that we had here before. This was not the place people make it out to be. We loved this place. We raised families in this place. There were generations of people who were proud to be from these areas, from these spaces. And I said I wasn't going to come up here today because I don't want to get emotional. But I can't look around and see my family, my friends, people I grew up with living in this neighborhood anymore. And that's a shame, because I can't find them throughout Denver. Where are our people going? Where are we? Are we standing behind?
One more person who was pushed out of this community, by Mayor Hancock, by Albus Brooks. By the way, the next incumbents are here, but the incumbents aren't here to stand with the community. Remember that when you go to vote as well. Victor Galvan.
I was sitting at my desk on Wednesday, just finishing up work, when my friend Kyle flags that Coffee Inc. When Kyle, my friend, had posted that Coffee Inc. or Inc. Coffee had posted this sign up here in this neighborhood, proudly gentrifying community since 2014. Now, I didn't realize where I was at the time, but then I looked it up. It's smack dab in the middle of an area that I grew up in. I'm a first-generation immigrant to this country. The one thing that I dreamt of doing was setting roots. And I have never been able to set roots in this community because of the gentrification, the fierce gentrification of this community. Just in this neighborhood alone, I can name 5 different homes that I lived in. How many people here have moved 5 times in their lives? How many here? How many here have moved 10 times in their lives? How many here have moved 15 times in their lives? I have moved that I can remember 16 times. 16 times. These people don't understand don't understand what it means to live out of a box. Because your belongings are never really unpacked. They don't understand having a separate bank account for first and last month's rent, and for the down payment that you'll never get back from the renter. They don't understand that. They don't understand constantly and always asking friends to keep a lookout for a cheap apartment, because they know that in 6 months and in a year, that they're not going to be able to afford the place that they're living in now. They don't understand that. My family lived through that my entire life.
Still to this day, we cannot find a place to set our roots because Denver has been so ferociously gentrified. And it's painful to me that I have not been able to stay at the same school for more than a couple of years. I was lucky enough to have a mother that cared about my education, and I was able to stay at Ebert Elementary until I finished. But after that, I went to 4 separate high schools, 4 different middle schools, 2 different high schools. They don't understand that pain of always constantly have to rebuild from the bottom up, having to constantly meet new people and make new friends. I don't have childhood friends because I move so often. I don't have a childhood home because I move so often. And I know that a lot of us have the same problem, that we've become transient at the expense of these people. We have had to sacrifice so much so that people like these, like Coffee Inc., could survive. These laws, these incentives for developers are wrong. We need to establish rent protection in this city. We need to get rid of anti-camping laws here in the city. It very well may be one of us that ends up camping on one of these streets because we know how expensive Denver is getting and how expensive it's going to be if we don't stand up right now. Julie was right, to say that this was not just about this company. And it's not. It's about the system of injustice that continues to cycle through people of color, through low-income families, that create rich, prosperous neighborhoods only to be plowed and mowed over by developers that are only going to take advantage of what they've already built. I remember walking to school with a group of kids here from Champa all the way to Ebert, because this was a safe place to live and a place that harbored families. That doesn't exist anymore. The people who live here are my age.